What is going on, everybody? We're back again with another video here at Colfax Guitar Shop. I actually brought my parts caster here because it needs some new strings, and I figured this would be a great opportunity to have our man Christian here show us how to replace strings on a Strat style guitar.
But first, before we get into the restring, why don't I give you guys a shop tour and see what we're all about here, since this is our first video. Basically, the front of the shop is retail. We got a 13 by 13 square up front that's just jam-packed full of as many guitars as we can fit, basically. So we got a small shop here. I've had to get really crafty with how everything fits. Get our different picks, some old Harbor Freight little like kind of tackle box type tool holders. I cram in a lot of strings here. Got all the different gauges and stuff you need. Basically a little bit of everything. We try and keep some basic entry-level guitars. You need to find your first guitar. We got some good options. Outside of that, it's kind of luck of the draw what we have on the wall. So, and then from here on, it's all repair. We're mostly repair, custom builds, restorations, any fretted stringed instrument, talking guitars, basses, banjos, ukuleles, mandolins. Mostly what we see are guitars and basses. We've got 5 benches for luthiers. All of these benches are on casters, so we can move them out of the way. We just started doing this concert series in the shop, so all these move and we line up 36 folding chairs and have a band play kind of right in front of that sliding door down there. So moving up, like we got the library ladder wraps around here, so all these cubbies are works in progress. A big part of repairs is you just glue something up, set it aside, and wait for glue to dry. So cubbies will get filled up, and you know, it just cycles through all these different projects. And different cases, I have sections of empty cases that are guitars for sale. Pretty much from our little bulk string setup here over is stuff that's been completed and needs to be picked up. And this is all stuff that needs to be done. There's some shops that will schedule stuff in. Not something we really do here. A 1-week turnaround is the goal. If you wanted to get it done quicker, we could do a rush when we can. All these benches are kind of state-of-the-art. We got a dust collection system that has ports for each bench. Then each bench also has like compressed air. All of our luthiers kind of set up however they want. These island benches, this one's just chock full of clamps. That's a common thing. You can never have enough clamps, they say, but I think I finally might have enough clamps. I'm proud of this one. My whole fret wire, fretting stations, radius blocks, any guitar parts you could need. This whole thing's just tuners. That's Mateo. He's the shop dog. He's super chill. He goes by Teo or Taters. Oh yeah, we got our library. This is all the wood shop back here. This is my son. He's learning how to play guitar, so true mom and pop shop here. But yeah, basically this is all the woodworking, like where we make the dust, where we build guitars. We're doing lots of just bone nuts and saddles and making cleats, and really the dust is made back here. So you know, we got the heavy machinery, got some bandsaw, buffers, different sanders. This is my almighty wall of measuring. This is the spray booth, which is almost done. We've been remodeling back here, so eventually we'll be finishing our guitars in here. And the shop kind of continues up here. This is our resaw bandsaw, intentionally positioned right by the alley door so I can just like saw stuff out the door, you know? Behind you here, this is a sander just made for radiusing fingerboards. And that's pretty much the tour. Right, Taters?
Should we get to restringing this thing?
Yeah, let's do it. We're talking restrings today. First thing I'm gonna be curious about is what gauge strings you want to put on this thing.
I typically use 9 to 46. Standard tuning. Do you need different strings for just a half step down?
Yeah, ideally it all factors in. That difference in tension can really affect things. So if you're doing 9 to 46, you can get away with it. If you're doing half step down, that's fine. If you're doing a full step down, I'd probably say like we should bump it up at least to a set of 10s. 9 to 46 is a great option here, so I think you're on the right track.
Okay, sweet. Old school bridge, old school tuners that you kind of like screw in to like lock.
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, yeah, you got the wider spacing with the 62.
Should we pick out some strings?
Yeah, let's check out the strings here. The standard nickel wound is by far the most common. As far as materials go, there's a lot of options. You can really get lost in all these different options. The gauge is the thing that I would say is the most important to figure out. Worry about the materials later. If you're unsure, just always get nickel wound. You can get cobalt, pure nickels, like there's all these different materials. Highly recommend you got a new guitar, whether you're a beginner or not, experimenting. That's where the personal preference and just get 10 different sets of strings, test them all out. You'll narrow down what you like and what the guitar likes. You could have one guitar that just loves a certain material of strings. There's people that have a certain pH in your sweat that you just corrode strings more than others might. You might be one of those people. Don't feel bad if you are. There's a lot of them out there, but and for those guys, I always recommend a coated string like Elixirs or these XS D'Addario. Those are a great option. They're basically coated to last longer. Whether you have that pH in your sweat or not, you might want to put those on just because you hate changing strings. They'll last longer. Pay attention if you're gunking up your fingerboards and you got all sorts of gross finger cheese, get those strings. Otherwise you're just gonna go through strings so fast. So yeah. Step one on this guy, take the strings off, start cleaning it. For my Restring go-to tools, a cheap paintbrush is huge. I use this for cleaning between pickups, hardware, getting all this dust and debris out. If you just start going to town with a microfiber cloth or paper towel, whatever you use, you could be rubbing in that dust and scratching your finish, your pick guard. You're just smearing around all this grit and it's acting like sandpaper and just putting scratches into your guitar. So I think these are called dikes are the actual term. I call them string cutters. Klein makes really good ones. There's a lot of companies out there that, guitar companies that make proper string cutters. I sell some Music Nomad ones here. String winder. So you don't have to spin the tuner posts by hand and spend an hour just cranking it and cramping up your hand, so these spin it faster.
I've seen the ones too with a drill attachment.
Yeah, that's what I use. Here's that string cutter I was talking about.
Oh, nice.
There's a bunch of companies make those. The average player, you're gonna want something basic like this. But this is the grip bit winder. Love these things. You gotta be careful. I'll show you some tips and tricks on how not to mess things up, because once you start getting a power drill involved with a guitar, things can go wrong. So microfiber cloth, never a bad idea. We use paper towels here. I'll show you some tricks on that, because you can mess things up with paper towels too. So I think that's the tools. So I noticed you got your bridge floating here. These springs on the back here, this claw is set to a tension. So when you go between different tunings, like standard or half step, you're changing the tension on the strings, which change the tension on the springs in the back. If this is pitched up like this in standard and you go drop the tuning, this is gonna come back a bit. This dropping, it's not the end of the world. On a Floyd Rose guitar, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's gonna throw it completely out of whack. It does technically drop the action the smallest degree, but I got my drill here with my bit. I'd always do your drill on your low setting. You're not trying to go light speed with this. If you're experimenting with the drill, just be real light on the trigger at first until you get it down. What I do when I'm loosening the strings is put this, if you got a beer belly, that really helps. You got a nice little shelf here, and I can access pretty much all these tuners. So one thing about this bit is you could sometimes, depending on the guitar, it'll hit the next tuner over next to it, so you got to be careful with that. The other thing is the depth. Certain tuners, you'll hit the side of the headstock here, so
okay.
You can just kind of back it off a bit if you're controlled. And yeah, that's it. Just loosen everything. Notice my hand is on the neck there. If a string breaks when you're tightening it or loosening it, having your hand there can save your face just getting whipped,
Yeah.
Instead you're whipping your hand. Now they're loose, I'm ready to get these out of there. Strat style bridges, I could just uncoil this. This little curly Q little pigtail here is gonna be a little tricky to get through, so I usually just cut it. Kind of same thing. I put my forearm on the neck here and grab the strings, because there's still a little bit of tension on these. I don't want these strings just whipping out. So I'm kind of Both ends of the strings, I've got them secured. Basically just pushing out the ball ends.
See, this part right here was like the hardest part for me when I would do it by myself.
Oh yeah.
Because it would just keep getting caught down there.
Yeah. Sometimes they get bind up. They bind up in there. I mean, I have like little dental picks. You just gotta knock them loose every once in a while. Sometimes a string will break. I've seen plenty of guitars where you can't get the string out. So you look inside and you realize that there's like 2 other ball ends just stacked on there.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta get them out. You're just gonna compound the issue. So I've been working on guitars for a long time. I know they're really, really awkward things to hold at first, and I'm probably making this look easier than it is. The more you do it, the more it becomes an extension of your body kind of thing. So what I'm doing here, these are locking tuners. I'm just loosening them up to where I can get the string out. Locking tuners, they have a little pin in here that just pushes up in the actual post and feeds through the hole. There's like a little pin and it locks the string into place. And the idea behind locking tuners is to have minimal amount of winds on the actual post. So most guitars, and actually you're kind of defeating the purpose on this one. So you got about 3 winds.
Right.
That's what you want without locking tuners.
Okay, I got
But with locking tuners, the idea is to have no winds around the posts. And the theory is that those winds, there'll be gaps and little spots where the string can stretch out and have areas where it can just pull out a tune. You're kind of eliminating one of the small things that could be a problem. Which locking tuners can be great. They're really good if you're using the trem like you are. Here, I'm gonna show you another trick real quick. These wanna spin out. Like it's still too tight. So sometimes they just lock. Now I can't show you, but it's basically, I'm loosening how this spins. I just sped up the process by using the string tension and the tuner to actually just kind of spin this loose so it would unlock on me quicker. Locking tuners have their place. In this scenario, you're using the trem a lot. One big selling point for a lot of people is that they're just quicker for the most part. You don't have to sit there and wind them forever. That's a benefit. And then if you use them right, they'll stay in tune a lot better too. But in general, locking tuners, in my opinion, are not a necessity for most guitars. A lot of people are having tuning issues, and usually the culprit is the nut or the saddle. 90% of tuning issues start there. They have their place to really fine tune, like get to that next level. But if you're having tuning issues with your guitar, I would say start at these other things first. Have a luthier look at it, check the nut slots, check the saddle, the bridge, all that. But rarely is the tuners themselves the problem.
Got a little bit of a dirty.
Yeah, you're playing this, man. It's good. you got some fret wear. That's a good sign. At this point, I wouldn't say like a fret level is a necessity. I can tell you're doing some bends. These are a little flattened off down there. It's good, honest wear and tear. It's what you want to see. This particular example, I'm going to use naphtha, which is a chemical. It's basically lighter fluid, and it's good on guitars. You can get it at the hardware store, but it's going to knock down this residue that's built up on the fingerboard. Depending on the neck, your cleaning process will change up quite a bit. If you have an ebony fingerboard or rosewood, it's going to be unfinished most of the time, unless it's like a Rickenbacker, they'll finish those. Rather than use naphtha, most guitars, I'm gonna squeeze by you. I'm just going for steel wool, which is the finest steel wool they make. It's 4-aught, it's called 4 zeros. Basically just kind of go up and down the neck here. Cleans off the frets, any of that tarnish. I'm not going to town on this one because I don't want to scratch your nice maple. So, and then you can oil it after that. If your fingerboard has finish on it, you want to avoid steel wool. Don't ever use steel wool on any kind of finished instrument.
What would be a neck that you could use it on?
All of these, you could use them on ebony, rosewood, whatever unfinished woods. This is an example of one you don't want to use it on. These fender necks here.
Okay.
Finish. There's a couple other companies, like Rickenbacker will finish a neck. You want to be a little careful with it. Even though it's the finest they make, it's still aggressive. So if you're really just digging in, it'll mess things up and you'll see some scratches. So this one's a bit unique. I'm actually debating, like I might test this in an area and see how well the steel wool reacts. But my first thought on this is, you said you think it has some finish on it, or that it's unfinished, but I think it's got some oil on it. One of your tuner bushings just fell out. May as well bring this up. That can happen. A lot of people will put rubber bands. They'll weave rubber bands around the tuner posts in case that happens. But this is, that's a little loose. It wasn't reamed out right in this one. Check these other ones. Yeah, not your bushing, that's your post. Spurzels, like any locking tuner, especially spurzels from where they have a thumb wheel from the back. When you loosen them, don't do what I just did. You want to snug them back up because you could have one fall off, and especially if it's that little tiny post that you see in a spurzel, you don't want to lose that. That sucks. Take the strings off and I'll usually run it down those thumb wheels and just kind of snug them back up. All right, so I'm going to clean this with some naphtha, just some paper towel. If you're smart, you'd probably wear gloves, but I like to live on the edge. Kind of got to go with the fret just to get in the edge of it, you know. If you're going this way, you're just gonna like leave residue right along the edge. Right. So I'm too tempted to. I want to test this out with some steel wool. I think we're good. This is a bit of a unicorn one where steel wool could go either way. We're good to go. So I'm gonna switch back to this, and then I'll come naphtha at the end. It's just a little bit more aggressive. It'll get that residue off a little quicker than the naphtha will. Naphtha is kind of a big just go-to chemical on guitars. It's not super aggressive. It's not going to melt your finish. It's good at cleaning off like sticker residue, finger cheese, just stuff that doesn't come off with your typical cleaners. So yeah, I use naphtha all the time. I'm probably going to get yelled at by certain players here. Steel wool is magnetic. A lot of people swear you got to tape off the pickups, because there's a magnet in each one of these. Like if I didn't clean this bench properly and I went and put strings on it, it'll almost like bridge the gap between the string and the pull piece of the
I see.
Of the pickup, and can cause issues. But that's if you don't clean it off properly. That's where it becomes a thing. You can steel wool the back of the neck on this too. This style baked neck without like a gloss finish. One reason people really like them is they don't have that gummy sticky feel that a lot of finish can get. But what happened, like the same residue you had on the face of it, get that on the back as well. All right, we're clean there. You can kind of see how the steel wool wants to stick there. All I gotta do is hit it with this guy. So I just made a big mess. The steel wool just disintegrates. You can see it all there. So first thing I do is I get the guitar out of the way, whip them out a bit, and it should be good to go. So now all that steel wool's off, I'm not gonna just rub the guitar in it. All right, so I'm going back with the naphtha again, just to get any of the other stuff off. Typically this is where I would start using like a fingerboard oil, but this one I don't want to. This stuff evaporates pretty quick too, but you gotta reapply it every once in a while.
Dude, I'm getting high off naphtha right now, bro.
You getting fumes? It's one of the perks of the job, man. So yeah, as far as oil goes though, I would just do it every time you do a restring for the most part. Twice a year, ideally. Depends on what climate you're in. So if you're in Colorado, it's gonna dry out and you gotta do it all the time. So you wanna wipe it on, let it sit 30 seconds, a minute tops, and then wipe it off. You want a dry towel and a wet towel. But yeah, it can actually penetrate into the fret slots and cause issues that way. So you don't want to just like put it on before breakfast and like take it off in the evening. Yeah. Paper towels, a lot of people are gonna, oh, you're coming for me on the internet, I know. They're fine. It depends on the guitar. If you have a brand new bright and shiny pickguard and you're just going to town with a paper towel, you're probably gonna get all these swirl marks. So there's certain scenarios where you don't want to use it. You never want to use the first two pieces from the roll or the last piece, and it's because there's an adhesive there on the roll. You notice when you start to take off that first one, it's stuck on there. There's a glue on there that if you rub that in, it's just gonna scratch the crap out of your guitar. So use a microfiber towel if you got it. I'm doing hundreds of guitars every day. I don't have the bankroll to fund my microfiber towel thing. So I got this polish, which is Meguiar's. It's car polish that I dilute with water. The guitar industry is just chock full of like gimmicky, like you gotta use this polish crap, and it's not true. Like, and you're just paying tons of money for it. So that being said, like there's some that smell great. I sell some here, like, but I'm going through gallons of this stuff every year. So there's nice little bottles. You know, you don't want to keep a bottle of Windex in your case probably, so you can get the right size and use whatever. But I actually don't clean the whole guitar until I'm done with the restring, because I'm gonna get it dirty again anyways. But once the strings are on, then all this is gonna be really hard to access, so I wanna do that first. I use my 6-inch ruler. I'm using these things all the time. This is my cleaning ruler. This is my $40 nice ruler for 30 seconds and 64ths. Basically, I'll get my paper towel wet and wrap it around the ruler. It takes some time to get this down, because you got a soggy towel. This is where a microfiber cloth might be right for you, because I could break through this towel and just be running a piece of metal into this body if I wasn't careful. So I just do one pickup at a time. Every once in a while you'll get pickup where there's some wax on the pull pieces from when they pot the pickup. That's also where naphtha really is helpful. So I don't know if you notice, I'm moving my position with this ruler. I pick a new spot like almost every time I put it down, because like if you're wearing through that towel, it'll eventually be metal on metal, and that can scratch stuff. So, all right, the proper way to fix this is to dowel and re-drill that hole. The quick fix that's not the ideal one is to basically put a little shim piece of tape on this and a dab of yellow glue. It'll still come out, but like you don't want to use epoxy or anything. You want it to be able to come out. Oh, look at that gap. First try, baby. So I'm really pressing this on there to try and get it in the grooves. I'll pop this off real quick just so I can hammer it down. Notice I got my little guide finger here. This is 25 pounds of buckshot for shotgun shells. Old luthier trick. That's great. It absorbs impact. So if you're hammering frets in, or I use it as a weight a lot too. Who would have thunk? Buckshot, regular wood glue, which isn't really gluing this to the hole as much as it is like acting as like a filler, like kind of encapsulates it and holds it in place. It's totally reversible. Like you'll be able to get this out. I'm using the wood instead of the hammer, because if you slip with the hammer you can dent the whole thing. So here we go. That's in there. The fingerboard's cleaned. All the area underneath where the strings will be is all cleaned up and polished. The only thing I haven't done really is the headstock, but I can just do that real quick and then throw some strings on.
Sweet.
Home stretch here. Strings. Save your points. Send your points to me. D-Dare color codes their ball ends, and they mark it on their pack. Depending on what strings you get, you know, like your brass is your thickest string, the low E. Okay, now is where I grab them all from the other side and just kind of feed them through a couple times. I also like to give them a little tug just to make sure that the ball ends are seated right. If this was not a locking tuner and I wanted to tune up this low E string, I like to use the next tuners up as my gauge for how much slack I need. So ideally you have 2 to 3 winds around the post on a traditional tuner. Since this is a locking tuner, I don't have to do that, but if this was a traditional tuner, I'd bring it up to about where my thumb is, which is 2 tuner posts pass roughly, and I'd give it a little bit of a kink, and then I'd feed it through up to that kink. Not trying to do like a straight 90 degree. It's pretty subtle, you know. If you kink it too much, what happens is you have a gap that can cause tuning problems. You want the string to just be like really tight up against the tuner posts. No gaps, no big like bends, or you want it overlapping itself. Like the string should just be hugging that tuner post like real tight. 2-3 winds. But with the locking tuner, the idea is to eliminate those winds. So these are unique tuners. Most locking tuners you see will be a thumb wheel. Basically what you do on those, that style locking tuner, is actually just feed the string through straight. If the tuner the hole of the post is facing this way, so the string is feeding through that way, you want to actually turn the tuner around so it's feeding through as straight as possible. All the slack I just wrap around my finger and use the end of the headstock as like a fulcrum, and I pull it f***ing hard. and then I'll lock that thumb wheel down on the back. But yours is different. Yours actually, these can be frustrating if you don't know what you're doing, because this mechanism, this is how you tighten it. It's from the top. So when you got a string in there, string is in there. You just tune this up. That's it. So I'm pulling really tight, and what it's doing is spinning. It's spinning this down now just by tightening this.
Oh.
So all you got to do is just tighten it up. Eventually it'll catch. You'll see that it just starts moving. There you go. So it's locked. It locked itself. A lot of times you could probably just leave this, but it's a good idea. Just grab a flathead, double check, lock it down a little bit more. So here, let's plug this in real quick. I'll show you all that tension I had pulling on it as I locked it down. I'm almost in tune here. Look how I don't have any whines.
Right.
That's the whole idea of a locking tuner, is there's just less, it comes straight to that one point and doesn't have all these whines that can come loose and cause problems. Also, it's fast. With your winder, make sure to get your tension on there. I'm pulling back, and I just go to tighten it up. There we go. Still wants to lock down. Can't decide if it wants to lock or not. There we go. So yeah, that's pretty much it on these. All right, I should do one more pointer here, I guess.
Let's do it.
I'm doing a restring on this, but if I were to do a setup on this, I would not cut these strings until I've done the setup. The main reason is maybe I got to raise the saddle down here, which increases the tension on the string, and it brings the string up to a higher note than I want, and then I got to loosen it here. If I don't have enough room, you see, I can't loosen it any more than this.
Right.
And if I cut this off, I wish I hadn't, because I need that string there basically past the post. So if you're setting up a guitar, doing any other work, always a good idea to just leave a little bit of slack on your locking tuners. Usually just angle it up, angle this down, nice and close. Now is where you get to kick back. It's like the victory lap, kind of stretch. Doesn't matter the job, what it is. I'm never going for accuracy the first round through of tuning up a guitar. A lot of string tension on this, just pulling on it. So every string, as I tighten it, is pulling against the neck, putting more and more tension on the neck, and it pulls the neck up over time. As you put tension on one, it's putting slack on another until it just builds up this balancing act of back and forth. You really notice it on a Floyd Rose, where it's one little change on one string will pull all the others flat. So no point. The strings also have to stretch, so there's no point in and then I'm just gonna immediately go mess it all up. So what I'm doing here is stretching the strings, and basically I'm taking my 4 fingers and then pulling up and then pushing down on my thumb and just going up and down the length. You can do it more than you think. E and B, G, if you're strong, you got some calluses built up from doing this, you'll break strings. It's harder than you think. I do this probably 4 or 5 times every single job. It doesn't matter how much you stretch them, they will go out of tune on you. Any new set is going to go out of tune more regularly in the first week or two, and then they'll finally kind of be fully stretched out. But this speeds up the process. That's a fucking restring, man. It's the last thing I do after tuning it up one last time, is just to go through and make sure A lot of the time I'll just do this in the case even. That way when they open it, it's just like, ta-da, you know, kind of this ta-da moment. Looks all pretty, it's shiny. It's as clean as it's gonna be for a long time probably. So
Nice.
that's it.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's how you restring a guitar. It's Christian at the Colfax Guitar Shop. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment below and let us know what we should do next. Thanks.